Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining us here on this beautiful day here in Suffolk. I'm Jennifer Moore, the Director of Media and Community Relations with the City of Suffolk. And today, I have the distinct honor and pleasure of welcoming you all here today as we come together to recognize the hard work of our legislators in Richmond. And the result of their hard work sits right here on the table in front of you. Their work has helped protect our first responders who have dedicated their lives to helping and protecting us. So before we get started, I need to recognize a few folks in attendance. When I say few, I mean this list is very long. Of course, our Suffolk City Council, Mayor Michael Duman, Vice Mayor Lou Ward, Councilman Leroy Bennett, Councilperson Shelley Butler Barlow, Councilman Roger Fawcett, Councilman John Rector, Councilman Timothy Johnson, Councilman Leotis Williams, City Manager Al Moore, Fire Chief Michael Baraki, Police Chief Al Chandler, Treasurer Ron Williams, Clerk of Court Randy Carter, and of course Delegate Clint Jenkins and Senator Cosgrove. We also have Delegate Israel O'Quinn and of course Delegate Emily Brewer. Also joining us today are representatives from the Virginia Professional Firefighters Association, John Wright and Jennifer Pike, and representatives from the Virginia Fire Service Board, Virginia Department of Fire Programs, Virginia Fire Chief Association, and the Hampton Roads Fire Chief Association. And of course, our very special guest, Governor Glenn Youngkin. So without any further ado, let's get the program started, and please welcome Suffolk Mayor Michael Duman to the podium for remarks.
Big crowd. Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning and welcome to our great city of Suffolk and Fire Station number 6. This station also serves as our city's emergency operations center and therefore is the most fitting location for this momentum occasion. First and foremost, thank you, Governor Youngkin, for choosing the city of Suffolk as the location to sign this legislation. Collectively, these bills will have a profound positive impact on our public safety professionals, especially our firefighters. Being signed into law today is House Bill number 1408, whose chief patron was our own delegate from the 64th District, Delegate Emily Brewer. The bill had 30 bipartisan co-patrons and was passed unanimously. Senator Dick Saslaw, who couldn't be with us today, introduced an identical bill, Senate Bill number 906, which had 4 senators providing bipartisan support and also passed unanimously. House Bill number 2451, patroned by Delegate Israel O'Quinn, who represents the 5th District, likewise enjoyed unanimous approval. You can see there's kind of a pattern there. House Bill 1775 was also sponsored by Delegate O'Quinn. Delegate Brewer was the chief co-patron along with Delegates Robert Bell, Ellen Campbell, and Alfonso Lopez. Senator Bill DeSteff introduced a companion bill, Senate Bill number 1904, which also passed with unanimous bipartisan support. Not only is the location of Fire Station number 6 fitting for this occasion, but the time is most fitting as well. Yesterday, May 4th, was International Firefighters Day. Every year on May 4th, we celebrate International Firefighters Day to pay tribute to the brave men and women who put their lives on the line to keep our families safe. In light of this important time, I'm also reminded that last week was the anniversary of the E3 tornado that devastated our city on April 28th of 2008. Much of that destruction was just yards from this very location. I stood on the steps of my dealership and personally witnessed the extent of this horrendous event. That day was a testament to the resolve of our citizens and displayed the professionalism and commitment of our public safety and emergency management personnel. In closing, I'd like to thank the tireless efforts of Senator DeSteff, Senator Saslaw, Delegate Brewer, and Delegate O'Quinn, along with all their colleagues who work to ensure that our firefighters have the training to meet the needs of the ever-changing communities they serve and are cared for both mentally and physically. The legislation signed today in our city, in our firehouse, affirms the commitment to our first responders who make a decision to serve their communities every day. Thank you all for your attendance. At this time, I would like to introduce our Fire Chief, Michael Baraki.
Good morning, Governor Youngkin, Delegate Brewer, Delegate O'Quinn. On behalf of the Mayor Duman, our City Council, City Manager Al Moore, City staff, and 316 firefighters, paramedics, officers, and administrative professionals of Suffolk Department of Fire and Rescue, welcome to Fire Station 6 and Fire Headquarters. Thank you to Delegate Emily Brewer, Delegate O'Quinn, and Senator Bill DeSteff on sponsoring and championing the House and Senate bills for cancer presumption, training on electronic vehicles, and mental health disorders for our firefighters. Your dedication in pushing these bills through the House and Senate so that Governor Youngkin could sign them here today is so much appreciated. Today, I speak on behalf of my fellow Hampton Roads Fire Chiefs, many of who are here today, as we represent 3,000 professional firefighters and paramedics who serve 1.8 million Hampton Roads residents and many visitors. From the peninsula to the south side, these dedicated firefighters and paramedics respond to over 265,000 calls for service a year. We serve and respond without judgment or choice. When the bell strikes, we serve, always. And yet, despite the best training and the most well-equipped firefighters and paramedics anywhere in the Commonwealth and nation, we're exposed to deadly carcinogens and the mental trauma of serving the very citizens when they need us at the worst time. We develop cancer at a rate of 9% higher than the general population, and we are at 14% higher risk of dying from that diagnosis. PTSD prevalence rates amongst firefighters is 8 to 22%, on par with our military veterans. These diagnoses prevents us from continuing to serve. Often overlooked are the countless wives, husbands, partners, children, and friends who now must assume the role of serving us, because a sick firefighter cannot serve. We are committed to preventing firefighter cancers and mental health disorders, yet these bills Governor Youngkin is signing here today will help our firefighters and our families as they can take comfort. As I turn the podium over to Jennifer Pike of the Virginia Professional Firefighters, I want to thank the Virginia Professional Firefighters and all of our local International Association of Firefighter Presidents for lobbying and educating our legislatures. Also, thank you to the Virginia Fire Chiefs Association, who also fought for these bills in concert with the Virginia Professional Firefighters and our local IAFF presidents. Jennifer, welcome to the podium.
Good morning. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the nearly 10,000 Virginia professional firefighters. I would like to thank the following patrons who worked diligently to ensure our legislation passed this past session: Senator Bill DeSteff, Senator Dick Saslaw, Delegate Emily Brewer, and Delegate Israel O'Quinn. Governor Youngkin, thank you for your leadership and support and for taking us across the finish line to make our legislation become law on July 1st of this year. Because of these bipartisan efforts, we strengthened cancer presumptions, we included benefits for thyroid and bladder cancers, and defined existing legislation to include anxiety and depressive orders as an occupational disease. These were all vital to the VPFF, but are only a small victory in a large arena of the many more needed protections for the firefighters and their families. On June the 3rd, we are honoring firefighters and EMS personnel who passed away in 2022 at the Virginia Fallen Firefighters and Emergency Medical Services Memorial Service. In the last 4 weeks, Virginians have lost three of our fire service members. We've been devastated by these line of duty deaths. Henrico firefighter Steve Whitston, 17 years of service. Virginia Beach Captain Mike Cheverati, 20 years of service. And Frederick County Deputy Chief Chester Locke, 40 years of service. We should always remember these and all of our other public safety personnel and professionals who made the ultimate sacrifice to keep our communities safe. Also, let us not forget to keep the families of these dedicated heroes in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you again for your continued leadership and support, and we're very honored and proud in Virginia to have the leadership that we do. It's my honor now to introduce you to one of our bill patrons and a friend to the VPFF, Delegate O'Quinn.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and good morning. It is an honor to be able to be here with you today. Good to see some of my General Assembly colleagues, Delegate Clint Jenkins, of course, Delegate Emily Brewer, Senator John Cosgrove. I represent a district that's about 365 miles away from here. And depending on where you stand, you may be closer to 6, 7, or 8 other state capitals than you are to Richmond. And while I may represent a district that is, in fact, a long ways off, the common thread that has us all here today is helping our public safety workers. So I'm personally a volunteer firefighter, and I'll be the first to admit that I do not get to spend anywhere near as much time doing that as I would like. But I do have a tremendous respect for those who do. And of course, my brother is a professional firefighter as well. So in addition to legislating on the topic, it's a personal topic for me. So House Bill 1775, as you heard, adds anxiety and depressive disorder to the workers' comp statute. And a lot of times in committee, there are these sort of side conversations going on, and not everyone's really paying attention. But when the 3 witnesses who spoke on this bill finished, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. And I'll tell you briefly the highlights of what those 3 said. The first was a police chief who said that the average human has about 2 truly traumatic events in their lifetime, like really, really traumatic. And the average public safety worker has about 180. And they're not standalone instances, they're cumulative. The second was actually Jennifer, representing the professional firefighters. And she told us a statistic that said that firefighters and police officers are twice as likely to die of suicide than they are in the line of duty. And these are dangerous jobs that we're talking about. And the third was a story from a former state trooper who came up on a bus crash with people strewn all over the road. And he talked about how he couldn't go to sleep for months without seeing that. And just really impacted him in a bad, bad way. And so today is about doing what's right for all who do so much for all of us. And I know a lot of times it gets taken for granted. You may have a day where you don't see the fire trucks rolling, but boy, when you need them, you sure are glad they're on the way. And I'm just honored to be able to play a small part in that. So now I have the pleasure of introducing an incredible friend and a great delegate, Emily Brewer. Now, when you get elected to the House of Delegates, the Speaker of the House always assigns you a mentor, someone who's been there longer than you, who can show you the ropes, so on and so forth. And so when Emily was elected, the Speaker assigned her to me. So I'm like trying to figure out who in the world is this lady from Suffolk, Virginia, way out east of me. But it didn't take me long to realize that she certainly has unlimited energy. And no one in the world is ever going to outwork Emily. She's someone who goes about her job at 100% every single day, day in, day out, and works to be responsive to the needs of her community. And all you have to do is just look at the legislation that she carries to realize that. 2 of us worked together on a lot of public safety issues. We actually overlapped 2 years on the Public Safety Committee. Unfortunately for us, we were in that, and I know Jennifer and John have been in that a whole lot over the years, that 6:30 a.m. subcommittee that meets. Just brutal. So we weren't always thrilled to be there, but we were there and putting in the work. And so, Emily, I'm really proud of the delegate that you've become. Watching you grow and become a fantastic leader in the House of Delegates has been something that I've been very, very proud of. So please make welcome the delegate from the 64th House District, Delegate Emily Brewer.
It is an absolute honor to be here today with people that are from my hometown. It's a lot. I'll be brief and introduce the governor in a second, but I grew up here in this city, and I'm so very proud of everybody in this room. I promise as long as I serve in this body, I will have your back. I promise you that. But today is a good day. We've had a lot of loss with the line of duty deaths the past couple weeks. But I will tell you this, we will be valiant, victorious, and we will continue forward, continually fighting for these issues. Having said that, it's very personal. I know a lot of you very, very personally and very well. Today is a great day. We have a governor that is standing up for public safety. Years ago, we could not get these bills passed through the General Assembly, and now we have a victor. We have a governor who believes in supporting our firefighters and our law enforcement officials at the core of who he is in his being, and I'm so very grateful for that. I want to thank everyone from the city of Suffolk. Chief, thank you. All the elected officials that are here, everybody who wears a uniform every single day that stands up for what you believe in despite the challenges that you might encounter over the service of your career. I'm grateful for you. But Governor, I'm absolutely grateful that you decided, the place I call my hometown, to sign this incredible package of legislation. Thank you for being a public safety governor. Thank you for showcasing that in the work that you do every day. And it is my privilege and honor to introduce the 74th governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Youngkin.
Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Brewer, for that very, very kind introduction. I'm inspired by the work that has been done in order to bring these bills forward, but I'm also inspired by the fact that you have a delegate here that understands the work that you all do. She, in fact, has served as a volunteer firefighter. She has served as an emergency response first-line hero. I want to thank you for that, and thank you for your great work. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to sign legislation that, in fact, is going to do what should have been done a long time ago, and that is to protect the health and the well-being of our first responders, our heroes. I want to thank Senator DeSteff, who is not here with us because he is literally clearing yards, chainsawing trees, and helping people who have suffered a tremendous, tremendous tragedy in this past week. I'm sorry we're running a little late, but we were there this morning. And to see the devastation that this tornado wreaked upon our friends and neighbors is heart-wrenching, truly heart-wrenching. But we stopped for a moment and we recognized two things. One, there were no injuries, no loss of life. And that had to be the hand of Providence when you can see what happened. And second of all, the professionalism of our fire and rescue heroes, of our state police, of our police department from Virginia Beach, of all of those first responders that showed up literally within minutes in order to provide support and help. It's that which we are celebrating today. And I want to thank everyone for your commitment. And I particularly want to thank all of those that on Sunday evening drove to danger in order to help those that were suffering. See, I believe that at the end of the day, we are here to serve you. And I can think of no better time to sign these critically important bills than today, right here, among our heroes. The day after International Firefighter Day, a day to recognize the decision that our brave men and women make every day to step away from their families and the safety of their homes to serve their communities. And every day, a decision that they make to step into danger to protect our lives and our families, our homes, and our communities. Our first responders are vital. They are vital to our collective and our individual safety and well-being. And it is such an honor to be here with you this morning. At the heart of these bills is honoring the dedication and the service and the sacrifice that is manifested in courage, fortitude, and strength of each and every one of you. In my own faith, Scripture reminds us of the words so clearly spoken about this selfless love of one's neighbor. Love one another as I have loved you. And that's what each of you reflect every day when you go to work and demonstrate your selfless commitment to our communities. So this morning, as you have heard, I will sign four bills that expand vital health coverage services to the most deserving men and women in uniform. House Bill 1408, Senate Bill 906, patroned by Delegate Brewer, patroned by Senator Saslaw, add bladder and thyroid cancer support to the Virginia Workers' Compensation Act. This builds on the extremely important work that was done by Senator John Cosgrove in the 2019 legislative session to include colon, brain, and testicular cancers to the list of qualified care coverage. House Bill 1775 and Senate Bill 904, sponsored by Delegate O'Quinn and Senator DeStaff. They establish additional protections for law enforcement and members of fire service suffering from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And while our quiet heroes sacrifice for our safety, we must give them the support they need to stay healthy. On top of ensuring our first responders have access to health support they need, we are prioritizing safety measures involved in the training for evolving fire service practices as well. House Bill 2451, sponsored again by Delegate O'Quinn, ensures that our first responders have the tools they need to safely respond to an electric car fire, as these vehicles become more prevalent around the Commonwealth, and fires do as well. See, they burn hotter and they burn longer than contemporary combustion engines. Electric car fires pose a unique danger to our communities, and it is critical that our firefighters have the tools they need to get the job done and return home safely. As Jennifer said, while this is a day to celebrate supporting our first responders, I do want to take a moment and pause in remembrance to those that gave their lives in service. Captain Matt Cheverati from the Virginia Beach Fire Department was an accomplished member of VBFD and a captain of Engine 7. As a member of the FEMA Virginia Task Force 2 search team and serving in the aftermath of disasters in Haiti and Puerto Rico, Chevy is remembered as a hero with a true servant's heart. And while the legislation that I'll sign today was not in place during Chevy's battle with thyroid cancer, may his life serve as a reminder of the importance of supporting our heroes. And to all of you that are here that serve as the front line, the first ones to run to danger, and to all of your families, I just simply want to say thank you. Thank you for loving. Thank you for your servant's heart. And thank you for the tremendous work you do to make Virginia the best place to live and work and to raise a family. You are the fabric of our communities, And may God bless you and keep you safe and watch over your families each and every day. It is an honor to sign these bills, and let's go to work. Here we go.
And then we'll just push out a little bit further over here. And then can I get some folks to come around on this side?
So who's been to a bill signing before? Okay, not everybody. Very good. I hope everybody behind me raised their hand. So one of the great privileges of serving all of you as governor is working with a legislature that goes to work for you. And the bills that we're signing today reflect bipartisan efforts between Republicans and Democrats, between House members and Senate members, in order to do important work. And it is such a privilege to sign these bills. Oftentimes there are companion bills, a bill in the House and a bill in the Senate. And they were progressed at the same time and brought together and both passed. We signed both bills to recognize the extraordinary work that happened in both houses. And occasionally there's a bill that doesn't have a companion bill, but everybody agrees is so important to do, and we have one of those today as well. And so I'm going to start with House Bill 1408. This bill, as we've discussed, was patroned by Delegate Brewer. And in case you haven't heard yet what this bill does, this bill expands the workers' compensation presumption for our first responders to include bladder and thyroid cancer, expanding protections for our first responders when it is needed the most. The companion bill is Senate Bill 906, which was patroned by Senator Sasslaw. We'll thank him for his great work here too. And again, this bill, like House Bill 1408, expands compensation presumption for our first responders to include bladder and thyroid cancer. And again, it is my privilege to sign this bill. Next, I'll sign House Bill 1775, patroned by Delegate O'Quinn. This bill ensures that medically diagnosed anxiety and depressive disorders that law enforcement officers and firefighters incur in the line of duty are covered under the Virginia Workers' Compensation Act. And its companion bill, which was patroned by Senator DeSteph, again, ensures that medically diagnosed anxiety and depressive disorders that law enforcement officers and firefighters incur in the line of duty are covered under the Virginia Workers' Compensation Act. Senator DeSteph goes to work every day, and it was such a privilege to see him today, chainsaw in hand, sweated through his t-shirt, going to work for his constituents, just like every one of your elected officials has been doing. And so I just wanted to make a special notice of that today, and he apologizes for not being here. And finally, House Bill 24 51. Again, patroned by Delegate O'Quinn, this bill directs the Department of Fire Programs to develop an electric vehicle fire training program for our firefighters in the Commonwealth. This legislation will ensure that our men and women of the fire service are given the proper training to respond to these fires quickly and safely. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is a day, yes, where we celebrate great legislation that has been put forth and passed because it's needed. But it's also a day for us to celebrate the heroes that go to work every day to keep us safe. In the final round of applause, I want to make sure we give to every man and woman in uniform, for their families, for their children, for their parents, for their sister and their brothers, for the great work that they all do in keeping us safe. God bless you all.
While the governor says his thank yous, y'all are very welcome to participate in the reception we have over here to the left.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it a meal coupon to come back?